living in a house with breathability means that the relative humidity is always in the comfort zone, which means effectively if you have a low relative humidity in the air, you can turn your heating down and still feel comfortable. And I guess what I would say is if you've ever sat in a damp building, what you find is even though the dry bulb temperature of that building might be at 22 degrees, you can still feel cold because we're very sensitive to damp. Well, the reverse is also true. If you live in a building where you're in the comfort zone of say 60% relative humidity, you're in a situation where you can have your dry bulb temperature can be as low as 18 degrees and you can still feel incredibly comfortable. So I guess it works in a way that with the breathability, it means you can effectively turn your heating down and still feel comfortable. And that's a great asset. And then I guess after that, we'd say probably its ability to insulate generally. But it insulates in a different way to other materials, or a slightly different way, in that it insulates, it has thermal mass and it regulates humidity. So that gives you a slightly different circumstance to most other building materials. And with that thermal mass, the building itself warms up. So if you compare that to a building made of some polyurethane-based material where it's just an insulator, you have no ability to absorb moisture in that building, and you have no ability to absorb heat into that building. So when you open a door or a window, the air temperature drops very quickly because the only thing in the building that's warm is the air. With a hempcrete building, the building itself is warm in the same way that brick can stay warm if it's insulated from the outside. It has that thermal mass quality. So you can open a window or open a door and the air temperature doesn't decrease really quickly because the fabric of the building is warm. And I think that in terms of people's comfort is a major benefit of hempcrete. And I think it's one of the reasons why my clients are so happy about living in a hempcrete house, because they can open the door or the window without any immediate drop in temperature. It's because it's a monolithic wall. We normally spray all the way around in one sort of continuous wall. We don't have any problems with sealing the building up from drafts because we managed to get the hempcrete in all the little bits and pieces. So there's no cracks, there's no gaps, there's no thermal bridging if you design correctly. So we can produce buildings that do well on air pressure tests, that have almost no thermal bridging. So it kind of ticks all of those boxes from a building point of view. The installation process is pretty quick, pretty efficient. And on new builds as well, particularly, the sequence of building becomes slightly different. So you have a situation where the footings are put in, the timber frame goes up and the roof goes on. At that point, the plumbers and the electricians come in and they can run all of their pipes and cables wherever they need to be without really anything in their way. They've just got a timber frame to work around. And then when all of that's installed, that's when we come in and put the hempcrete in. So that way we get a good seal around all the pipes and cables. We can make sure that we can choose where we put the timber frame, whether it's on the inside of the building, the outside of the building, or in the middle of the wall. So there's all kinds of little tricks that we can use to make the building make it run smoothly. And so from a build point of view, it can make a very simple sort of strategy for building. You're not on site with lots of other trades. All the other trades have already been, and then you put the wall in, and then some other trades come along. So the actual sequence of the building changes as well, which again, that has implications with the cost, because it's easy for the plumbers and the electricians to work, so they're not on site quite as long. So there's all kinds of little advantages that we gain with building with hempcrete, and it's unique in the way it deals with humidity and deals with temperature. in the sense there are other materials that insulate that have a better U value than hempcrete, or a better K value than hempcrete. But actually hempcrete falls somewhere in between, and so it has enough insulation to keep things warm, but its insulation is poor enough, if you like, that it allows heat to enter into the wall, and then it holds on to that heat. So there are other materials that insulate. Arguably their insulation value, their simple insulation value, is better, but actually they don't hold on to any heat. So all you have in that building is the air that's warm. The fabric of the building never warms up, but hempcrete seems to balance those two things rather nicely.